Everyone, welcome to You Who Post. In this video, we're going to talk about weak and strong trademarks. Remember that our content is educational and informational, and it is not legal advice. If you have a trademark issue or you want to protect your trademark, get legal counsel with specific considerations for your situation. With that said, let's start. My name is Giselle Ayala. I'm an attorney and I work on trademarks, copyright, licensing, and contracts. Now, before we start to talk about weak and strong trademarks, I want to start with a statement that I think it's important for you. And this is that all trademarks start weak. Yeah, that's the reality. And why is this? Well, because at the beginning of a trademark journey, no one knows this trademark. As a result of that, every trademark starts weak. Now, some trademarks we can say that are stronger than others because they have better potential to be recognized and to result unique. And from that perspective, we're going to talk about strong and weak trademarks. Now, I'm going to show you a spectrum of what is considered a strong trademark and what is considered a weak trademark. However, this is an analysis that is focused specifically on or more focused on word marks. And as a result of that, additional considerations might be necessary when we are dealing with other trademarks, like logos, sounds, audiovisual trademarks, and other types of logos and specific symbols. So we have on this spectrum from generic marks to fanciful marks. And in other videos, we have explored a little bit about what are these trademarks. But I want this video specifically to go a little bit deeper in that explanation. So generic marks are words that specifically tell you what the product is, that are necessary for explaining the product. And those are words that you cannot really use as a trademark. And why is this? Because a trademark, it's a monopoly to use a symbol in the market to differentiate your products or services. As a result of that, if you get a trademark, that means that to present your value offer, to offer your specific service, no one else can use the same trademark. For instance, if I want to have a restaurant and I want to sell burgers, I cannot use Burger King as a trademark. I cannot offer my Burger King specials because that is a protected trademark. It's already appropriated by another business. So when it comes to generic marks, these are the words that describe the product. So we cannot protect as generic marks milk for milk, coffee for coffee. We cannot protect lamp for lights or lamps, and so on. Now, there are some trademarks that have become generic. And why is this? Because those trademarks at some point were unique, but what problem is that the trademark started to be the same thing as the product itself, like aspirin. When aspirin was initially in the market, it was very unique. However, with time, people were producing different kinds of aspirin. As a result of that, aspirin became the name of the product itself. It became something generic, and aspirin as a name for this specific medicine was not unique anymore. That may happen with a trademark. As a result of that, it's very important that every time you use a trademark, you use it as the name of your brand, your style, or as an adjective of your service or your product. Trademarks are adjectives. Remember that trademarks are symbols of quality or certain characteristics of a product. So you don't want never to use your trademark as a substantive. You don't want to use your trademark as a noun, as the product itself. You have a product, you offer the product, and how do you know that product is good? Because it is this trademark. So the trademark is just an adjective, a characteristic of that product. And you use that word in that form, and you will be doing a better job avoiding a situation where that word becomes generic, right? We don't want like different kinds of iPads, like the Samsung iPad or the Microsoft iPad. No, what iPad does, they do tablets, and this is a special, unique tablet. Why is that? Because it's iPad. So that's important when it comes to word marks. You want to avoid that word becoming generic. How do you do that? You use that word as an adjective, as a characteristic of a product, but the trademark is not the product itself. Now, descriptive marks. So descriptive marks are words that tell you about the product or the service, but they are not the product itself. As a result of that, sometimes they might be protected. How do we protect descriptive marks? Words that are used to describe the product or the service. This is Giselle Ayala from youwhopost.com. If you like this video, don't forget to follow, to give us your support, and to click the notifications button so you can get new videos information. Additionally, don't forget to go to youwhopost.com if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship, art, and other interesting topics. In general, if you want to protect that trademark as a word, no specific colors, no design, no logos, no nothing, you're gonna have a hard time because USPTO will probably say that's descriptive, it's necessary for the market, I cannot give you that trademark right, that monopoly to use that word. Why is that? When you file for trademark registration, you have different options. You can register the word with no special font, colors, or symbols, or you can register the trademark as the combination of words and colors, symbols, and specific fonts. So let's see, Singapore Airlines. So in general, this is kind of describing the service, right? Which is flying. And how do I do that? Well, I need to use an airline. So here we might have an issue. However, Singapore Airlines has a logo that is a company with a specific font, colors, and a logo. And that's what makes a descriptive marks sometimes protectable, right? But you have to add those additional creative elements to be in a situation where you can protect a descriptive mark. Now, I have another example here, cafe, coffee, day. That's a word, a group of words actually that are describing the product and probably the service, like a cafe. However, that trademark is also accompanied by colors, special font, and a logo or some kind of form. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to descriptive marks. Now, something else that we want to think about when we are talking about descriptive marks is the concept of secondary meaning, which this means is that a word that initially has no other meaning, like the one in the dictionary, it's going to acquire a specific or unique meaning or connotation in the marketplace because of marketing or because of use. And here I have an example. For instance, we can have something like cafe, which is coffee in Spanish, right? But if we use that word in combination with other letters, with the style, with some colors, that word together with the rest of the trademark concept can acquire secondary meaning. As a result of that, become something different, unique. And I have a more clear example, booking.com. So booking, it's the verb, right, of looking for something and eventually scheduling a trip or scheduling hotel time, right? So booking, the word initially is actually descriptive of a service. It's not particularly unique. However, what happened? That after many, many years of booking.com using these words together in the marketplace, this domain name, which is in some way something generic, booking.com, the words are not particularly original, it became specifically known in the industry. As a result of that, these initial words, which didn't have much originality by themselves, had a secondary meaning. They developed this secondary meaning by use in the marketplace. So keep that in mind when it comes to descriptive or somehow generic marks. But also keep in mind that this is a specific example, which means that every mark and every word will have to be analyzed within its context. Now, we also have suggestive marks, and these marks have more distinctiveness. They are somehow neutral, they are not weak, they are not very strong, but they are somehow there. And what's the point of suggestive marks? What remember that we're talking here about is most of our focus, it's on word marks. These suggestive marks are words that somehow tell the consumer what the product is or what the service is about, but not directly. They require some form of imagination for the consumer to figure out what is this about. So these marks are stronger, but in order to be protectable, they again need secondary meaning or somehow acquire distinctiveness. That's what will make these marks stronger. Now, We have also arbitrary marks. And here we have logos because sometimes that apply to logos. But I will say in the context of word marks that arbitrary marks are those words that are taken out of context and they are used in another industry. Now, let's say the word apple, right? Apple is not very unique for vegetables or natural products. So that's a context where the word Apple would not really work as a trademark. But in the industry of technology and innovation, Apple, it's a very unique and different word. Like that's something that you wouldn't expect when it comes to defining technology. It's an apple. Well, it's not a substantive, it's not a noun, but it's an adjective because the pieces of technology that are Apple that have those characteristics are very unique and you want them. Remember that trademarks are source of commercial source identifiers and they are symbols of quality and the characteristics of a product or a service. They tell the consumer what they can expect. Now, when it comes to fanciful trademarks, and these are the strongest trademarks in the market, what can we find? So fanciful trademarks are the strongest ones, and they are usually made up or invented words. And we have two examples here, Kodak and Adidas. These are two of the most important trademarks in their industry. Why they are so strong? Because they are unique, they are distinctive, and they stand out from the crowd in the marketplace. And remember that a market, it's crowded with many offerers and many different kind of consumers and many kind of different services and products. So the idea of the trademark is to stand out, to communicate something unique about the product, to allow consumers to identify the product apart from the rest. That's the point of a trademark, and that's why you want to protect a trademark because it will be an important part of your identity as a creator or your commercial identity as a brand or a business. So when people think about, okay, I'm looking for financial services, okay, I'm looking for restaurants, they can think about your trademark and they can think about specific characteristics, quality that the others don't have. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to also show you some strong trademarks and I'm going to explain you why trademarks are stronger or weak depending on marketing, but also depending on the context. So we have here a yellow M, right? Or two arcs. So this is not particularly unique. It's in some way irregular. It's just an M with color yellow. However, if you know about restaurants and if you know about McDonald's, you would say that's actually a very unique trademark. But why is that? Because first, McDonald's is a very, very old and very, very important trademark. Two, because McDonald's has done a lot of work in marketing and in investment to position that trademark. So it's not the same, that M out of context, that this logo, which is unique and it's known worldwide. Now, what about this? This doesn't look pretty original either. It's just, a red dot and then there is a white circle and then is the next circle, which is red. So not pretty known or unique. That's right. However, if you know anything about retail in the United States, you may be able to very fast identify as the logo for Target. And Target has done a great job, not only making this an important logo or trademark, but also they do it via audio, visual, and advertising on TV. So every time we see sometimes like a red dot and then a white circle and then a red one again, we clearly identify that that is actually Target, one of the most important retails. So that's something to keep in mind. Now let's see this. Two logos of a burger. So a burger for burgers, again, it's not pretty original. It's just, an icon. So there's nothing really special about it. If you see a burger with any of these two icons, you might not really know who is the commercial source of that burger. However, when you add certain colors, you implement marketing and you also add some wording, some special style, you make that not so unique icon into something very special, unique, and known in the market. And Burger King, again, it's known worldwide like McDonald's. So that was my message of today. That's the different kinds of trademarks that you will find in the market. And that's how you're going to think about Okay, is my trademark weak or strong? Remember, if you're just starting, the trademark is not that strong, but you can add different elements and you can take certain words or certain logos out of context to make that trademark strong. However, remember that this is something that will take time and it will take marketing and advertising efforts. And that's all for this video on weak and strong trademarks. If you want to learn more, don't forget to go to youwhopost.com or leave questions or comment, and we will be more than happy to give you information or to answer the best we can. That's all. I will see you in the next video.